The oak tree is the most important hardwood of any species in North America, with over 70 species in North America and 400 species worldwide. The fruit of the oak tree, the acorn, supplies food for various numbers of wildlife in and throughout North America and the rest of the world. What I want to go over today is how to grow an oak tree from an acorn. Hi, I'm Dr. Tom Warren, and you're watching The Plant Doctor. Let's get started. So the first thing we need to do with growing an oak tree from an acorn is to collect the acorns themselves. So once you collect your acorns, what you want to do is perform what is known as the float test. So what I have here are 5 acorns here in this measuring cup. 4 of them are floating, 1 is sinking. We only want the acorns that sink in the water here. So there's only 1 acorn, this one, that is viable. The rest of these are not going to be viable. This is known as the float test. And it's not all that unusual when you collect acorns to have over 50% of those not be viable. So the first thing you want to do before you go planting a bunch of acorns in the hopes of getting some trees is to do the float test. So once you've performed the float test, it's important to know what species of oak you have. We can divide oaks into 2 separate groups. You have the white oaks and the red oaks. So the white oaks, this is what we have here. So this is Quercus alba, and that is a huge acorn off of Quercus alba. This was given to me, all of these acorns were given to me from a landowner in Jackson County, Alabama, in northeast Alabama. They are known to have a predominant hardwood forest, and he said, you've got to see these acorns. When my deer chew on them, no joke, he said this, it sounds like they're chewing on jawbreakers. I didn't believe him, but after seeing these acorns, I believe him now. So what I'm trying to do is grow 2 or 3 of these in the hopes of moving these to a hunting property that I have the privilege of hunting on. So we have the white oak. So the white oak group, you want to plant immediately after harvesting in the fall. So the white oaks, they are going to put down a taproot immediately after they fall. They're not going to lay on the ground very long. They're going to put down a taproot, and then the next spring, they're going to put on vegetation like you see here. The other group, the red oaks can remain dormant until spring, and then they'll put down a taproot and then begin to vegetate. So it's important to know the difference. You can preserve red oak acorns in your refrigerator as long as you put them in a damp, like a Ziploc bag with a paper towel. So put a paper towel in there that's damp, put your acorns in there, zip it up, put it in the refrigerator. They're fine till spring. You cannot do that with the white oaks. With the white oaks, you need to plant those pretty much immediately after harvesting. And that's what we see here. So this is an example of a white oak that has been growing, for about 6 months now. So what did I do with this? How did I get to this stage here from this? So this was given to me. I had white oak acorns that were given to me in October. So I collected those from the landowner. He gave them to me. I immediately planted some of those in some canisters that look like this. So why do we have a pot with all of these holes in it? There's also holes in the bottom here. Why do we do this? The reason is white oaks and red oaks both are going to have a huge taproot. So I want to show you the taproot on this white oak. I'm going to slowly pull it out here. See how big this root is? So the root starts here, okay? Look how it throws a root that goes straight down, and I'm going to plant this back in this pot once we get off camera here. I'm just going to lay it off to the side for now. So the reason for all of these holes in this pot, this is known as air pruning. So as that taproot goes straight down in this pot, we've got all of this volume that taproot can go straight down into this pot, and the holes underneath here, once those roots hit that airspace, they're going to stop growing. The same with the horizontal roots. Once these roots grow out, they hit these holes here, they're going to stop growing. If we were to put this in a traditional 1-gallon pot, what would happen is this. That taproot goes down, it hits the bottom of the pot, it's going to start to spiral. We call this root girdling. Same thing's going to happen to the side roots, the horizontal roots. As they move out, they hit the side walls of the pot, they are going to start to spiral around and girdle. If you take that tree out of a pot that is girdled, those roots will continue to girdle round and round instead of going out, and that is going to be an issue. It's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when that oak tree is going to die. So we have specialized pots here for growing oaks. Once those roots hit the airspace in the sides of this pot and in the bottom of this pot, they're going to stop growing. So how do we plant the white oak acorn? So I already have this pot here filled up roughly about 2 inches to the top. I'm just going to simply place the acorn in here, and we are using 100% pine bark mix in this. You could use a mix of peat and pine bark, peat, pine bark, sand. It really doesn't matter here at this stage. Once we have our acorn in there, we're simply going to cover it up. And then from here, all I'm going to do is leave this outside. I'm not going to water it. We're not going to baby it. We're not going to keep it indoors, anything like that. All I'm going to do is keep it outside as nature intended. So this is a native to my area here in the southeastern United States. I'm going to put it outside. It is used to the weather that we have here. It is going to do just fine. It is going to look just like this in about 6 or 7 months. I'm going to keep that acorn in here for about a year. At that point, if this is 6 or 7 months worth of growth, this tree is going to be, maybe another 8 to 12 inches taller. This taproot is going to be all the way down at the bottom of this pot. It's also going to be root bound on the side walls of this pot. We're going to be able to remove this tree out of the pot. The soil that we have on here is going to be attached to the roots. So there'll be so many roots that just kind of holds onto the soil, and then we can plant it. So what I would do from here is this. So in the fall of the second year, so we've planted this plant. Let's say we plant this acorn in November of 2024, June or July of 2025. You're going to have something that looks like this, and by the next fall, the next November, it's going to be slightly taller. As the leaves begin to fall off and it goes dormant, we can then plant it. And then from there, you don't have to water it. It's a native plant. It's going to be just fine. So 1 year in the pot, get some vegetation that's going to be 12 to 24 inches tall. Your roots here are going to be all the way down to the bottom. They're going to be hitting the side walls of the pot, and you're going to be ready to plant. Down in the description below, I'll leave a link to some pots like this. I'll leave a link to potting mix, and that's it. That's all there is to it. If you live in the United States and you're wanting to grow a white oak from an acorn, this is the best way to do it. Guys, as always, thank you for watching The Plant Doctor, and until next time, happy gardening.